Here we have a 1951 Mack LS-85 series pumper. It has a Mack 707A motor. This is a 707 cubic inch engine delivering 225 horsepower through a straight 6-cylinder configuration and a 4-speed manual transmission. She can pump 750 gallons per minute using a 2-stage Hale centrifugal pump. This 1951 Mack is one of the showpieces of the San Antonio Fire Museum, housed in the old Central Station in downtown San Antonio. This beautiful rig proudly displays a signature Mack Bulldog on the front grille. The Bulldog trademark originated during World War I when the British government bought Mack AC models to use out on the front lines.
Hi everybody, I'm Jesse Quinalty. Today on Firefighters and Fire Trucks Getting Ice Cream, we're out in San Antonio, Texas, out at Fire Rescue International, and I'm going to pick up Dave Mellen. Hopefully he keeps his clothes on today. We'll talk about that later. But going to pick up Dave Mellen, talk about some cool firefighter stuff. We're driving it out around in a 1951 Mack, so it's going to be a little loud, but we'll try to get through all the audio, and we'll see you soon. Okay, here we come, pulling up to the San Antonio Fire Museum. I'm going to go pick up Dave Mellen right here. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
I'm just going to park right here in the middle of the street.
Perfect.
I don't care. I was going to come out and greet you.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
Want to go get some ice cream?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Look at this thing. We'll drive around 51 Mack, go get some ice cream. Good time.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Let's do it.
So, what is going on, my friend?
Oh, not much, man. Just happy to be here in lovely San Antonio.
It's just like, let's see, Hotlanta, I filmed with Sean Gray.
Yeah.
Hotlanta, I filmed with Billy Goldfeder.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like all these conferences lately, it's just been hot, muggy.
I know, you need to find them where it's cooler.
I'm not scheduling the conferences. I'm just trying to film. But that's how it's been lately. Every single conference we're going to, it's just like, it's ridiculous.
It is. The humidity is what's getting me, but that's all right.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we can actually get this thing into third gear a little bit. So, what are you teaching out here at FRI this year?
So I actually guest lectured with my fire chief, Tim Whittam. We did, it happened to us, the anatomy of a near miss.
Okay. So this is your near miss.
This is, yeah, it's actually my near miss. It was a firefighter named Eric Fournier, myself, and my crew. We were in a single-story house. Went real south real quick, and it kind of changed how our department looks at Mayday policies. We kind of revamped everything that we did, from fire flows to nozzle and hose packages.
Right.
And the biggest thing is that we changed our policy for Mayday to include the autonomous factor. where now the firefighter gets to make the decision whether or not they're going to call a mayday or self-rescue.
Okay.
Before it was always, you have to call the mayday and then progress to self-rescue. And in our situation, based on all the time markers and everything, we probably would not have made it out without some pretty significant injuries had we actually stopped to call the mayday and do all that stuff.
Right.
So,
You want to tell them the story, like how?
yeah, so it kind of came in as just a normal house fire, and I say that like tongue-in-cheek, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
there is no normal house fire, but
It's on fire.
it's on fire, right?
Right.
And so we showed up. I was actually on the ambulance, and the fire truck was right behind us. Initially, it was a single-story house with a basement, and it looked like ordinary construction, just wood component. And so we went and deployed our line. We went inside, and right away when we started putting water on the fire, it just kept getting hotter, which that's not right. I mean,
Right.
it's the things that you expect to happen don't.
Yeah.
And so I initially thought Eric was an idiot, and he must have just left it on fog or something.
Right.
And so I reached up over him and turned the nozzle, and it was on straight stream. And so we.
We'll trade. I'll drive the
Absolutely.
bus. You can drive this.
You should do buses with ice cream.
Well, it's already like San Antonio, like they got the gondola rides and all that. I figured we could do a romantic gondola ride after this.
Are you serious? Let's do it.
Firefighters
man.
and boats.
As long as I get dinner out of it.
This is how this conversation is going to be. I can already tell. Sorry, let's back up a little bit. So it's getting hotter. You're originally like, man, my partner's an idiot, and what happens after
And
that?
so I checked to see if he was on fog, which he wasn't, and he was full open, man. And we felt like we had pretty good flow come through the hose. So he said, "Hey, man, I need more hose to make the fire room." So I crawled back, and we couldn't get the hose to go any further.
Right.
And I knew on a 200-foot cross lay, we weren't 200 feet out, right? So I was kind of trying to move the hose and finagle it in that front entry room. And unbeknownst to me, I actually drug a couch. I hooked the couch with the hose and drug it in front of the front door.
Oh, wow.
Which was mistake number one.
Right.
So as we kept fighting the fire, it kept getting worse. And about the time that we decided that we were going to start making our way out, everything started getting dark and really, really hot, like pinpricks on the ears and on the back of the neck and everything like that. And I kind of made the decision that I was reaching for my mic, and before I got to it, I started breathing hot air, and it got unbearably hot, like crawl inside your helmet hot.
Right.
And so I told Eric, I said, "Hey man, this is bad, we need to get out." There was a ton of expletives that came out with that.
Right.
But he said, "I'm burning up, I'm burning." And so I made my way towards where I thought the door was, and when we were going in circles, we found all three couches, but we just kept going in circles because that one couch had been turned.
Right.
So what we knew in that moment, which my next go-to was bring up the camera.
Right.
Well, I brought up our tick, and it was red. The whole screen was just red. And if you've done Andy Starr's class, he talks about condensation on the front of the sensor.
Right.
So I wiped it.
off. And,
Yeah, so I wiped it, and I was like, "Hey, no big deal." When I pulled it back up, it was still red, and I went, "Oh shit." So about that time, I started thinking about things, and I talk about it in the class quite a bit. But I mean, I thought about, I hope this doesn't hurt. I hope this is quick. Who's going to take care of my kids? Who's going to take care of my wife? Is my wife going to meet somebody? Oh my God, my wife's going to be with another person. You know, I mean, it was just like
Right.
in milliseconds. These are things that are all going through my head.
You're twisted.
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, I can't help it. Like
Right.
that's literally what went through my head. And so I thought, okay, this is it. Like this is what happens before people die. And about that time, I heard Eric screaming, I'm burning. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to give it one last shot. Like we'll find something. And so I actually bum rushed straight ahead. And what I did was lunged over the top of this couch, and I saw an orange glow. And I thought, this is the flashover. This is what people see. You know what I
Right.
mean? But they never get to talk about it.
Right.
And so I said, well, they're going to find me trying to crawl my way out. And I made it over the couch, and I heard tink. And I stopped for a second, and I realized that I hit something solid. And when I put my hand up and wiped, it was a glass window. That orange that we were seeing was the sunlight coming through that stained window.
Oh, wow.
Right? But we could only see like a foot in front of us. So it
Yeah.
it was all within a few feet. So I broke the window out. I grabbed Eric and threw him out first. And then I came out behind him. My driver, Warren, turned around and he goes, what the hell? Because he saw the front door and the window, and we were about 3 feet apart.
Right.
Right? So he couldn't figure out why we were bailing out the window. And within about 20 to 30 seconds after we bailed out, we had fire chasing us out that window. So there was nothing glamorous about it. It was just a normal fire, right? Until it wasn't. And I figured out afterwards, Eric had asked me, he goes, "Hey man, why did you grab me and throw me out the window?" And at the time I didn't really have an answer for him. And so after I did some thinking, the only thing that I've been able to come up with is that I knew I'm a bigger dude. And when I broke out the window, it was below the sash. And I thought, okay, well, I don't want to get stuck and have him behind me. And so I grabbed him and pushed him out. At the time, it felt like he weighed 10 pounds. He's like 6'3", 197 pounds or something like that. And then when I dove out, Warren said, "Man, you didn't touch any part of that windowsill. Like, you just dove straight through." And I told the guys in the class today when we were talking to guys and gals, I said, it wouldn't have mattered if that was a first floor window or a 10-story window. I would have been coming out one way or the other.
Right.
That's how instinctive it was, just because you wanted to get out.
Yeah.
So like I said, we regrouped. He was okay. I was okay. We burned up some equipment. I got a couple minor burns. He got a couple minor burns. It really wasn't anything to write home about, other than the fact that it went really south really quick.
Yeah.
And so our fire flow should have been okay, but because of the components of inside the house, our BTUs were over what we were flowing.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of really, really good lessons. And so the class, we kind of go into not just what happened and what we learned from it, but administratively how we address those things.
Well, you talk about like how it changed your guys' rig stuff and how it changed, you know, even your hose loads.
Yeah.
'Cause you said you were like, it was triple full before you guys were using it?
We were on triple load, which is the worst load in the fire service, if you didn't know. And listen, I say that kind of tongue in cheek. If you run the triple load, run the triple load. Just know how to use it. I like the modified Minuteman, and in that situation, and we have a lot of short offsets, right?
Right.
So in that situation, the Minuteman would have prevented the hose from getting stuck underneath the tire, which would have kept us from having to pull the hose more. And it just would have made it a little bit easier for us. So we transitioned over to the modified Minuteman. We still run triple load on our rear,
right,
because it's for longer lays and we don't have that issue. But it made us definitely think about how we're fighting fire.
Now, how did it change you personally?
So my wife didn't really know what happened. I didn't talk to her about it for a while, and she knew that we had a bad fire. She didn't know how bad. And when I finally kind of opened up to her a little bit, she, I don't want to say she forced me, she talked me into going to see a therapist. And there was a lot of stuff that came out. I think it changed me from not only like a firefighter perspective, but a parent, a husband.
Right.
There, you know, a lot of the things that I took for granted, like spending time with my kids, spending time with my family. When I'm at home, I'm at home. When I'm teaching, I'm teaching.
Right.
But now it's, you know, I try to make time while I'm teaching to make sure I get a hold of the kids or get a hold of the wife or leave notes for the kids in their lunch boxes more than I used to. And so that was good. But as a firefighter, it just made me, I guess, respect it a little bit more. I think I had gotten a little bit complacent.
Right.
As you know, the bread and butter fires, so to speak. And so now I'm just a little bit more aware of, okay, the line's open, are we making progress?
Right.
Whereas before I just assumed that we were going to make progress, and if things didn't go right, then I'd deal with it.
Yeah.
So.
The city's always under construction. I don't want to drive through here.
Right.
Now, were you were teaching at that time, or did that actually push you towards teaching and doing the stuff that you're doing?
Yeah, no, I was already teaching. This happened about 4 years ago.
Okay.
I started Valor Fire Training in 2015, so I was well into teaching. But that was, you know, to add salt to the wound, I guess, maybe a little bit. And I'm a pretty open book, but to add salt to the wound, it's like, you know, think about how many Mayday classes I've done, or how many RIC classes I've taught, or how many things. And we followed all those things. I mean, I did everything that I teach. But at the end of the day, it went back to the lowest level of training. That's what I reverted to. In that moment where I was like, this is it, and I tell everybody that I talk to about it, it's like, man, all the classes that I've taught, all the classes that I've taken as a student, and all that shit went out the window. It dropped down to your base level of training, that's what I ended up doing. And Eric said the same thing. You know, he's like, all the stuff that I've done for RIT, Firefighter Survival,
right?
All the policies and check boxes went out the window, and it was just survival mode.
Yeah, I got trapped in a garage in a wildland fire in 2006, and there's a ton of human factors things. Like
Absolutely.
Once your heart starts racing, your forebrain shuts off. Like you're not in control of what's going on in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
And you make stupid mistakes. You're slow to react. You got auditory exclusion, and really it goes back to primal. You know, that's what you fall back to. It's instinct and it's natural decision making. As much as you want to use recognition, prime decision making, or
right.
or
it kind of goes out the window a little bit. So no pun intended.
Well, the funny thing is, it was the same thing with us. We escaped out the window, and I kind of like joke like that too. Like, you know, hey, your thought process goes out the window. And the funny thing is, the window that we crawled out of, there was a 4-foot pane of glass and 2-foot slider windows on both sides. And instead of breaking open this 4-foot pane of glass as we're escaping, we slid open, didn't even break the slider window, we slid it open.
Yep.
Because as firefighters, we're taught not to break more than we need to.
Right.
So now we're doing basically a Denver drill.
Yep.
As we're trying to escape. My web gear, all my wildland gear is on, and it gets hung up on the windowsill. And I remember this day, like, why didn't we just break that big 4-foot pane of glass? And it's just because you just don't think like that when those types of things are going on.
Sure,
you know?
sure. Well, and a lot of people, you know, when they see the pictures, it's, you know, well, hey, the door was 3 feet from the window. Well, yeah, it was 3 feet from the window, but I was 4 feet away from the front door with the couch, you know what I mean? So in your mind, when you think of where you just came from, and this whole thing took place in 3 minutes or less.
Right.
So, I mean, if it went from 0 to F in like 2.5 minutes, basically, with the stretch.
Yeah.
And so, people are like, well, the door was right there. Why don't you guys just find the door? Yeah, if it was that easy, I would have done it, dude.
Right. I don't know. Why did I grab it? Sounds so easy just to open the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good lesson, and it was a good opportunity for me to be humbled. You know what I mean? I was always humbled when I was on fires, and my style of leadership when I'm riding the seat is, you know, I don't go anywhere that I wouldn't ask anybody else to go, or do anything that I wouldn't ask anybody else to do.
Right.
But this was the equalizer. This was the one that kind of brought me back down a notch, and I was like, okay, even those will get you. The ones that you would consider normal.
Right. Now, you said you've owned the training company since 2015. Okay, and then when did you start the podcast?
So I started the podcast about 5 years ago, and it was really just more of an outlet. You know, there was a lot of times that I wanted to go teach, and I would go and do a conference or a class, but then I had other things on my mind, so I wanted to get them out. And so the way that I started it was, I go to conferences and I would listen to as a student, I would listen to lecturers, and then I wanted to go pick their brain after. Well, you can't, because there's 100 other people that want to do the same thing.
Right.
And so through my teaching, I started asking other instructors that I knew, you know, hey, if these students have questions from your type of expertise, can I shoot them your way? And then that way, they're kind of getting that opportunity of that one-on-one question, but then everybody gets to learn from it. And everybody kind of liked the idea, so we started doing that. Then it kind of progressed into just more one-on-one, like talking to other instructors, picking their brain. And then the hot seat came up, where we do the hot wings. They get progressively spicier. And that was a straight rip off of another show that's on YouTube that I can't mention the name for legal purposes.
I didn't rip off a show. Oh, you're
right. Yeah. And so it was great, because I had a lot of people that wanted to do it, and they were in on it. And so it's painful, but it's fun, and it's educational.
See, and it's only because the ice cream thing, like I do, was already taken. You're like, I got to eat hot chicken.
I did. I really wanted to do ice cream, and I was like, damn it.
You know who else wanted to do the show? I saw like Robert Ridley from National. He goes, dude, I was really like having this idea not too long ago to like do like a Firefighters and Fire Training getting ice cream, but he goes, and then I saw you put it out, and I was so pissed.
He and I were talking about that, and he was like, he had my idea, it was mine, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure other people have had that idea too.
I'm gonna go down a wrong-way street if I'm not careful. There's a tunnel down one-way street. Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like, you hit me up about doing, you know, the hot show with you, and I go, that is not a fair trade-off. I'm going to take you for ice cream. I'm like, I love you, dude, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Even at the station, we'll have hot food, and it's like, if it's above ketchup or mild salsa, I'm pretty out. So
the best kept secret on this whole thing is that I don't do spicy food. Like when I'm at home, I don't eat spicy stuff. Like that's not me. And when I'm at the firehouse, there's no way I would eat that because I'd be in the bathroom for like the rest of the shift. And so when I go to do the hot seat episodes, people are like, man, you're really good at this. Like this doesn't bother you. I'm like, oh, you should be with me in about an hour. You wouldn't appreciate it.
So you really have to, like, it's already hard enough to plan the ice cream show around my teaching as I go. You really got to plan doing your stuff. Like,
yes.
I can't be in the bathroom when I have to teach my class.
Not just that day, but like even the next day, right? Like I don't do it the day before a flight.
Yeah.
I will not do that because.
Are you doing the hot show here?
No, I'm not doing it here. We made the decision just because of the quick in and out.
Right.
It was going to be kind of hard logistically, but we try to do it at every conference that we get to.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's even this show. It was the same type of thing. I was hanging out with Don Abbott at a conference.
Yeah.
And he's telling me the story about how they built a scale model of the supermarket fire that Brett Tarver died in.
Right.
You know, and he had it like Abbottville and all the small little miniature stuff. And he built a scale model of that. And then he tells me a story. He goes, "Oh no, you want to hear one better? I built a scale model of the Pentagon and did a scenario for the federal government about a plane crashing into the Pentagon years before 9/11.
Seriously?
Yeah. There's pictures of him and Bev, his wife, running this simulator in some of like the conspiracy videos. So I hear this story from Don, and I told one of my buddies, I go, that's it. Next time I go to a conference, I'm bringing a camera. I'll interview him on my room if I have to, whatever. Like just like you said, you hear all this crazy stuff from all these other instructors that aren't getting out. And after flying home, I called my buddy back up and I go, hey, you ever seen convenience cars getting coffee? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here. But he's like, yeah. I go, firefighters and fire trucks getting ice cream.
That's it.
That was that. You know, it was done. And I didn't know how I was going to do it and how I was going to find fire engines drive for the show. But everywhere we go, guys are like, yeah, here's the keys, knock yourself out. It's been crazy and a lot of fun. And to get guys like you that are progressive, on the job, into the job, has been just tremendous. So
I appreciate that, man. I've actually wanted to be on this show since the first episode. Like I saw it, and I was like, I'm going to be on there someday.
Yeah, so that's like your whole like bane of existence now.
Yes.
Like, teaching, like someday I'm going to be on Firefighters and Fire Trucks.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because, like, okay, so I was just having this discussion with another instructor the other day, and we were kind of fanboying, I guess, about another instructor that we both have respect for, who was kind of one of our mentors, and so we were reminiscing about the first time that we met that person, and it was really funny because it's so awesome to hear that, like, I'm not the only one that just like freaks out, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so and so, or oh my god, that's so and so. And so when you hear that, we're all the same. I mean, we put on our pants the same way,
right?
And so when we have those discussions about you being on my podcast or me being on your show,
right?
Those are all things that we strive for. And if it never had happened, I would be like, okay, well, I'm at least friends with you, right. So I'll give you crap for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool because none of us.
Guys that give me crap. Frank Viscuso's doing it all the time. He's like, dude, when you got me on the ice cream show, all the time, Frank's like jamming me up. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. It just never has worked out. Him and Mike Galliano. Yeah. It's always like there's something going on, too busy, or teaching at the same time, crossing paths. But
so basically, the only reason why you got me on the show is because I'm lame and I don't do enough.
That is not.
That's basically what you just said.
Well, so here's the thing too. Like, yeah, I've had Salk on here, I've had Chase Sargent, like some of the big names and all that kind of stuff. But there's so many new, innovative instructors out there that are doing cool shit. Your first podcast, who was Jared Sergi?
Yep.
Jared Sergi was like my number 2 on this show.
Right.
Jared Sergi is one of those guys. Ben Martin. Yep. Ben Martin is one of those guys that makes me feel smarter and dumber at the same time.
Absolutely.
Ben Martin, I knew, like, look, yeah, this one, okay, I got to do this big name because he's there or whatever. And the funny thing is when you go to a conference, guys like Salka and some of those other guys, they'll tell you right at the beginning of the class, they'll go, look, if you've heard my spiel before, go take somebody else's class. There's a ton of cool stuff out there.
Absolutely.
All those guys are really humble. all into that, like, go find something else. There's plenty of stuff that you can see, you know, and they're not above that at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always like, you know, I'm always looking at the list of who's there, and it's like, first part, I got to find a fire engine.
Right.
The guests are the easy part most of the time. Like, call, hey, you want to go off price for a fire engine? It's usually the answer is no. It's pretty simple. It's just once I get that done, I go down the pecking order, and it's all about availability and where we can squeeze the engine in and ice cream. But I'm, like I said, I'm excited to have you on here, man. Let's actually get into some good conversation.
Right.
So I kind of introed this one with, you know, hopefully he doesn't get naked on the fire engine. And a lot of guys know this, right? But what's the backstory with you wanting to get naked?
So it always gets brought up, man. Like, I can't escape this.
Well, you did it to yourself.
I did. So the backstory is that when we started doing a class called The Art of Realistic Fire Training, it was all about how to get the most bang for your buck, right? So a lot of times when we have theatrical smoke, we can't do live fire. There are opportunities for us to make it more realistic by having role players, having people scantily clad, you know, having people that don't speak English. And so when I started doing those things, it was simple. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to duck inside the door. When the fire truck rolls up first due for this fire scenario, I'm going to come out in my underwear. And so I did. And the first time I came out, I'm hacking a coffin, and I run up to the door and rip the door open, and I'm screaming at the company officer, and he's like, I mean, his eyes are wide open. He's like, I don't know what to do with this.
This is for your department or somebody else's department?
This is for a different department. And the fire chief came over to me afterwards, who was there, and he goes, man, that was amazing. I've never seen anybody do that. And he goes, you stumped the chump, man. I mean, it was like their OODA loop got reset so hard that they just froze. They were like vapor locked for a second. And so I've had people come up and I will hit you. I'm so sorry. So I've had people come up and you know, when I grab them, they start cocking back like they're going to hit me.
Right?
I've had people vapor lock and just stop. And I've had people that really you know, got on the really get into the I've had people really get into the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a good equalizer for them. You know, it's something that a lot of people haven't experienced. Well, then that got normal for some people. So then I started throwing in Spanish. You know, I started screaming at him in Spanish. Then my brother weighs 500 pounds. No, but I had to learn this. I had to learn enough to say it.
Right.
And I know like EMS Spanish. Like, do you have pain? Do you want to go to the hospital?
Dolor.
Yeah, Tiene Dolor. And so, but again, it was stuff that they've never had. Well, then they didn't know what to do. So then we taught them, hey, if you don't know how to speak Spanish, find somebody on scene who does. Say it over the radio. Does anybody speak Spanish? Well, in that scenario, when I did it, I knew that there was a guy that spoke Spanish.
Right.
And so he was on the second due engine. When they said, hey, there's a guy here speaking Spanish, we don't know what he's saying. This dude rolls up and comes running up to me, and he's asking me questions. He goes, yeah, his brother's 500 pounds. He's on the second floor.
Right.
Cool. So, yeah, that's the backstory. So now I routinely get naked at fire training. I always keep my underwear on, but what kind of underwear I'm wearing is always the big surprise.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
The lace doesn't work well. I will say that. I found that lace does not work well.
It's the chafing. I get it.
It does.
Yeah. So we were just talking about, like, you know, Jared Sergi was your very first person on the podcast. Who else have you had on there? Mark Alone, right?
Yep. I've had Mark Alone, Corley Moore.
Yeah, and you've been on the Scrap?
I've been on the Scrap,
which
was awesome. Oh, absolutely.
I don't know how he does it weekly, but
I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't have enough time to do it monthly sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, you know, I've had a ton of people. There's too many to name, but you know, a lot of it goes back to everybody that I've asked are people that I look up to. They're people that I've learned something from, and I consider them friends. And it makes it really hard for me when I ask them, like, hey, do you want to come be on my podcast? Because I know them. So it's like, what do we talk about? Because we can sit here and talk about the same thing that they always talk about.
Right.
You know, let's say I want to talk to Aaron Fields about nozzles and nozzle forward stuff. That's what he always talks about. That's his thing. Well, I want to talk to him about other stuff.
You can rope start Aaron on a lot of other things.
I know. And so that's where I like the one thing that I try to do is make it to where it's like sitting at a firehouse kitchen table.
Yeah.
You know, if I sat back at a firehouse kitchen table and talked to you, the new person sitting there would gain all that information. So I want my podcast to be like that. But yeah, everybody that's been on it is people that I've taught with, I know, I've learned from. There's some sort of connection.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, like Aaron Fields, I was supposed to do this show with him last year. He was coming to LA to teach some stuff there, and you know, he had to rearrange plans and all that, but I literally had it arranged that the fire engine they use to film Station 19 is actually in SoCal.
Oh, no way.
So it was going to be a surprise. He doesn't know this, but literally he was going to be standing out there, and I was going to pull up, and I guarantee you, Aaron would have been like, I'm not getting in that fucking thing. Like, I know how it's going to go. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
dude, you want to do the show, you gotta get in it. And the other, on top of that, Aaron does not eat ice cream.
Right.
So I was already going to have to take him for fruit bars or some other shit. So it's like, I'm going to already cater to you already enough. You're getting in that rig.
Yeah.
But he is actually, besides the last episode that we just put out, Nick Brunacini, Aaron is one of the ones that I'm looking forward to the most in a long time. But at the same time, I'm scared because he is a wordsmith at the judo level that he's actually going to be talking about something that I don't understand.
Right.
And I'll be like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, but he just got promoted. We were talking about that the other day, you know, and even though he said he would never do it.
You know, it was funny. I sent him a text and I said, hey, congratulations. You said you'd never do that. And he kind of, you know, he came back and he was laughing. But, you know, it's a natural progression, man. I'm happy for him. I think he'll do great. You know, I know it's going to be a different position, but he's still going to have as much effect as a leader in the front seat as he did as a guy in the back seat.
Yeah.
And, he's just good people, man. I love Aaron.
Look at that old station.
Right? Yeah, the architecture here with their stations is just awesome.
I'm officially lost.
You have no idea where you're going, do you?
I don't.
It's okay. We'll just drive around until we find it.
I know I'm close.
Hey, we could do Tex-Mex with fire truck. If you don't want to do ice cream, there's enough Tex-Mex down here.
Let's see here. With all the construction, it's so bad to get lost. Hemisphere. I'm so close. Even it's like right there. And of course, I gotta go.
I mean, we got red lights and sirens. Just do it. Take the block, man.
It's literally right there. So, the guy that runs the fire museum, he takes me out for the test drive this morning. He's like, all right, show me you can drive this thing. And he gets in that seat where you're at with a full cup of coffee. Right? What's that movie with like Corey Haim, like License to Drive or whatever, where the guy, the DMV instructor's like, all you gotta do is not spill my, and that's what I'm doing with this.
Dude, so this is no bullshit. I have a coffee mug in my locker that's filled with silicone that looks like coffee. And it's just a white mug, right? And we, you know, every firehouse has white mugs. It's not like it's, you know, but when I take new people out driving, I bring that, I'll be drinking coffee, and then I switch out to that cup and I set it on the dash. I'm like, if this thing falls, you fail. And, you know, eventually they find out it's filled with silicone. But yeah, I got it from the movie. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
There's a good old apartment building made of sticks.
So, what else are you teaching with your training company with Valor Fire?
So we do medical response to the firefighter mayday, which you know, most people lose interest when you say medical. So I always follow it up with it's a RIT class. But what we talk about is everything that you do after you find the victim. So for me, when I was growing up in the fire service, a lot of our RIT training, which RIT wasn't a thing when I first started.
Right.
It was coming out when I first started. So it was like, oh, cool, there's this new thing called RIT, which is crazy to think that we've been in the fire service for that long. But they, you know, when we talked about it, it was, we're going to go in, you're going to find the victim, you're going to call for another crew to come help you, because at that point you've gone over the hill through the woods to grandma's house you go. And then once you bring the victim out, you drop them at the door and you like high five and reset, and then you do the next scenario. Well, we had a couple situations in my own organization that, we had a couple firefighters get hurt, nothing serious, but everybody was on autopilot. Everybody had their bypass cracked. They're still fucking breathing. Why are you cracking their bypass? Right? Like, they don't need more air, but that's what we did in training over and over and over again. They got drug out even though they could walk. Guy fell down a flight of stairs and jacked up his knee. He's like, man, I can walk, I just need help. Well, they're carrying him by all fours. They take him out in the front yard, set him in the front yard, and then they all just looked at each other. Right. Like, what do we do now? Because we've never made it past this point.
Even without Rick, have you ever seen a drill like that where we save a dummy like that's a victim?
Yes.
We bring him to the front yard and we leave them and go back to the
Absolutely, absolutely. And so a lot of it was not only on the fire side, which we addressed with the lost art of realistic training, on the medical response to the firefighter mayday side, how do you recognize that somebody's having a stroke?
Right.
If they have a mask on and they're just not acting right? How do you recognize if they're having a diabetic emergency? We got a couple guys on my shift that are diabetic, and I can tell you right now, if they start getting moody and they start becoming an asshole, I tell them to go eat a candy bar or something. Right. We carry extra, snack bars or whatever in the truck so that if they need it, they have it. But those are the things that they don't go over in the book. How do you take care of that as a firefighter during a mayday?
Yeah, in my strategies and tactics for employee fires, we talk about hey, it might just be food on the stove. The guy's hangry, and I talk about one of the firefighters that his nickname's Snickers Bar because it's the same thing. Like if he doesn't eat, he just gets out of control.
Yeah, it's like Roseanne Barr. My front hurts. Now my back hurts. So we do that, right? And it's kind of a humbling experience. When I first went through it, I had the instructors come up with the scenarios. And it was humbling for me. It's like, okay, I got to do an assessment on this firefighter that I just dug out. We go through all the stuff, let's get their gear off. Okay, they're still breathing. They're complaining of chest pain. They're kind of not really making a whole lot of sense. Man, I did a 12 lead. I did end tidal. I did all this ALS stuff, right? Never check a blood sugar. So when I finally checked it, they're like, yeah, your blood sugar's 42. Oh, okay, well, that makes more sense. Yeah. So we do that. We do an engine company class for pumping. So the dichotomy of water movement. Okay. And a lot of it is how to move water efficiently, but also kind of getting away from. Sorry. A lot of it is how to move water and getting away from the, hey, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got to figure out all this math. Let's just get a pump chart. Let's figure out our static calculations. And then from there, getting the confidence to know when and where. I'm all about doing math. I think it's important. But I've watched a lot of guys trying to figure out flow formulas in the middle of a firefight. I don't need that. I just need, and people sit there and say, more this way, less down that way. That works great unless I'm on the second floor. And then you can't see me. And so giving them the confidence to know what the right pressure feels like, what the right pressure sounds like. Yeah. And so we address a lot of that in the class, just getting people accustomed to the confidence.
Well, even that, we do a lot of training for promotion to captain and chief officer, it seems like, but the chauffeur position, Red Helmet Training has a class called Driven to be an Engineer, just because there's such a gap in most places where they don't really teach them a lot.
Yeah. Well, in the newest class that we have out right now that we just did at FDIC, it's transitional search. Okay. So essentially, we've all been taught, right hand, left hand, oriented, split. But how do you decide when you're going to utilize each one, and how do you transition between them, right? I can start out as a vent inter search, but if the crew goes in and starts hitting the fire, if conditions get better, if I find a victim, I can take them down the stairwell, right? If conditions have gotten better and improved. So a lot of it is our own kind of thought process on when and where, from incident command to the actual crew doing the search to the support people. If I'm fire attack and I know that there's a crew on the second floor and they say that they found a victim, and I've got that fire knocked down, my priority is protecting that stairwell. So it gives them the option whether they're going to come out the stairwell, come out a window, and how to kind of maneuver around those things. So it's been really great because there are times where I personally find a victim, it's way easier to get them out the back, back sliding glass door or the back window,
Right.
Versus going all the way back through the house.
Or just taking them out a window so you're not bringing them back through the products of combustion. Like,
Exactly.
how often have we seen that?
Yes.
Because,
And we do it. I mean, these are all things, this is common sense stuff. It's not like I came up with it. It's stuff that we've done empirically or somebody else has come up with it. But a lot of it is just talking about it and addressing it so it's more commonplace. And so when we started teaching it, it really resonated with the students because they're like, yeah, well, we've had to do that, but we never really looked at it as a change in method.
Right.
It was just, oh, well, there's a window right here. I'll just put the victim out. Well, that transitions from a primary into a vent inter search. It's just reversed.
Yeah. Well, and when you talk about like the medical after the Mayday stuff, I didn't even realize this till the other day. We spoke at FireX Talk together.
Oh, yeah.
At PTX.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't even like...
Until you just said that, I completely forgot.
Right. So like Mike Snodgrass brought us out there.
Yep.
And my buddy Paul Strong, he does a RIT for real class.
Yep.
That literally, like, he does a RIT training that has sound and speakers and gets that auditory stuff. But the whole goal is you're never gonna save the firefighter down. It's for you to get trapped and you to save yourself. And, he goes, a lot of times you have those RIT trainings and we always save the guy down. You got to have them in a position where like that might not be possible.
Yeah.
But what did you do? What class was it for FireX Talk that you did?
So FireX Talk was the Fire for Effect, the lost art of realistic training.
Okay.
I talked about a grad that we had in 2014, the 104-year-old woman, and that was the first time really with Snodgrass's deal in Portland. That was the first time that I really talked about that situation.
Okay.
And so it was cool. It was fun to be able to talk about it, and the conversations that I had afterwards with my peers, with you guys, it was great because it kind of resonated with me that like, okay, it's okay to talk about this.
That was definitely one of those things like Mike does really well is like, I think it was like the first time I ever saw it, like you have the conference and those are like TED Talks, you're quick, dirty, you're recording them, but it was getting in the big hotel room afterwards and just all of us just talking about different stuff. I think that was the first conference I ever went to where you see that after, it's not like, well, we're going out drinking or we're doing this.
Right.
We all just got together and talked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you've taught at FDIC, obviously here at FRI. What's your next conference?
I knew you were going to ask me something, and now I got to sit there and think about it. Put me on the spot, man.
You haven't had to think this whole time. You're doing great.
So, right? I know.
I'm trying to drive a stick shift and interview you. Don't give me shit about, I got to think.
That's, all right, you're right.
I'm already lost. I'm just now figuring out that we're close to the ice cream place. Don't give me shit about, I got to think.
It's really easy, bro. It's that way. It's fine. One way or the other, you'll find it.
If it helps, I'm also losing brake power. I can feel it.
That's just fucking fantastic.
Really close.
Yeah, turn on the fuel pump and the brake pump.
Well, all right.
All right. So the next conference I'm doing, let's see. We got Carolina. There's Carolina Fire Days.
Okay.
Coming up. We just did Revolutionary Fire Tactics at the lake. We're going to be in Nebraska for Les Lukert in February.
Oh wow.
So we got that going, and then waiting to hear back on FDIC. We've done Firehouse Expo, which was awesome. Did that one in Nashville.
Firehouse this year?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But did Firehouse when it was in Nashville. Did Les Lukert. We've been returning presenters, and this is my first time at FRI, but I'm hoping to come back.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. I always like FRI, and the cool thing about FRI is it moves around every year. It's not like you're going to the same place every year. Not that you don't want to.
Yeah.
But FRI, it's like you get to go see some different places, which is really cool.
Yeah, and 2023, FRI is going to be in Kansas City. It'll be right in my backyard.
Well, hopefully I get selected to come out and hang out with you then.
Yeah, I'm going to do hot wings with dump trucks. You can be on it.
I'm not doing hot wings with you. Again. It's not even a fair trade-off.
It's not. I know.
I would rather have you on this show again than do the hot wing show with you.
We could find more mild wings. I mean, you don't have to do like the burn your fish.
I wouldn't even be any fun on that show.
We did one that was in Nebraska. It was 7 pepper face melt was the name of the sauce. And no, it was a dry rub. It was a dry rub called 7 Pepper Face Melt. And I was like, man, this can't be that bad. It's a dry rub. That hurt for days. That was horrible. Yeah, the drive home was like every 30 minutes I was stopping at a truck stop. It was bad.
All right, let's see if I can get this bad boy in here. So we're pulling up to Lick Ice Cream, and this place has like 3 locations in San Antonio.
What's it called? Lick Ice Cream. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
We were just talking about how you're naked.
I like to lick ice cream. I'm a licking kind of person. Right up my alley.
I'm trying to be as straightforward as possible. Firefighters and fire trucks getting ice cream. Literally, figuratively, I'm trying to be as straightforward as I can.
That's fine. I'm going to order 2 balls of ice cream. That way I can lick the 2 balls of ice cream.
Okay, we've officially taken this show to a whole new...
You can ask my wife. I have no shame. There's nothing.
All right. Let's see if I can parallel this thing in here.
You're going to try to parallel park this thing?
I don't know of a better plan, but for us to get where we're going, it's going to be the problem.
We got 47 minutes of video so far. Hopefully there's like 5 minutes that you can make out of that.
At least. All right, stay put for a second. Neutral, brake.
You are a better man than I, because I would have wrecked this thing about 15 times so far.
We're here.
That's okay.
We're safe.
It's okay, we're safe. Thank you. Thank you for your expert driving skills.
Let's go get some ice cream.
Yes.
Neutral, brake.
You are a better man than I, because I would have wrecked this thing about 15 times so far.
We're here.
That's okay.
We're safe.
It's okay, we're safe. Thank you. Thank you for your expert driving skills.
Let's go get some ice cream.
Yes.
I should have come around the
I was gonna say, you want to do that again?
Damn it!
Let's rehearse that. Plus, my dismount was horrible.
No. What are you f***ing new?
Right? Is that the key? Is that the key for this f***ing thing?
It's the batteries, like they hide it.
Well, hide it somewhere.
Well,
How did
stand by to stand by.
Is that the Q siren pedal? Yep. No. Yep.
We probably should have let you hit that.
We will when we go. We will.
The episode with Anthony Castro, so I
Yeah.
couldn't get him to stop playing with the f***ing bells and the sirens and shit. It's so funny.
Can we get one where you're like, would you f***ing stop?
Yeah, I will try to make it not sound rehearsed at all.
Right.
So.
All right. So let's go get some ice cream.
Yeah, let's go get some ice cream. Oh. She's warm.
What the hell, man?
I thought we were going to the front now.
All right. Listen.
This will be.
1, 2, 6.
Oh,
right.
we're playing rock, paper, scissors now?
No, I don't know. Okay,
Rock,
so
paper,
you're gonna
scissors,
dismount and you're gonna come around the front. I'm gonna dismount and meet you right here.
My 7-year-old knows how to play rock, paper, lizard, scissors, Spock, or whatever.
He almost kills us, and now he wants to argue.
And to think you thought you were going to be the problem on the show.
God.
Who knew?
Sweating my balls off, and you're trying to figure out which way we're gonna get out of the goddamn truck.
I'm getting you ice cream soon.
All right,
it's
let's go.
It's going to soothe you all. Your balls. Two balls of ice cream.
2 balls of ice cream.
You know,
All right, let's go get ice cream.
the blooper reel from hell. Oh, Jesus.
Just stop. Come back. It's one last time. It's it. Just let's go get ice cream.
You're like the director now.
Well, somebody has to be. You're not. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go get ice cream.
Yeah, let's go get ice cream. All right. She's
All
warm. Oh, man. Fun stuff, brother.